Okay. Actually, there you go, man. Okay, speak up a little bit too, so that everybody can hear you, folks. Quiet for Garrett's presentation, please.
I'll do what I can. I'm not like the loudest person ever, so bear with me. Excuse you.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So again, my name is Garrett Croney. So what I'm here to talk about today is, I guess my slideshow's over. Whatever that means.
Is it not working?
Yeah, it's being belligerent. Okay, neither here nor there. So basically, what I am going to tell you guys is what my project is about.
Yeah, if you could stay close. That's okay. Stay close to here. That way you'll be recorded better.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
Mike doesn't have that far of.
I can't move. So basically, what my project consists of, it's an automated irrigation system. So what is that in the very simplest terms? I'm sure you guys have all seen a sprinkler system before. Turns on, waters your grass. So what I want to do is take that a little bit further. In Bakersfield, whether you guys know it or not, like our water reservoirs are like at a historical low, and with that, it doesn't seem to be getting any better. So with that, we're in a very desperate need and state for water conservation. So with that, any way in any shape or form that could, potentially increase our chances of, increasing our water supply. These are all things that are in current demand, both here in, California as well as abroad. So basically what my whole entire objective is to do is to automate the irrigation scheduling process. So one thing just a brief question for all of you guys. If it was like 100 degrees and like just super humid outside, would you think that that would be a great time to water your lawn? Anyone? Great time? No? You guys are geniuses. That's a terrible time. It's super hot. The moment the water hits the ground, it's going to evaporate immediately. So with that, you're not getting any water penetration to your roots. So basically, you're just wasting water essentially. So with that, if you had a system that would basically take care of that for you, you would not only be potentially saving water, but you would also be optimizing pretty much your whole entire irrigation process, both with your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your crop yield, as well as, the fruitfulness of it, because you can overwater and underwater your plants. I'm not an agronomist. That's what they're for. I'm just here to develop the system. So pretty much where I would like to take this system currently, I'm in the prototype stages right now. Here's a picture of my, little Jimmy rig box. Maybe the slideshow will work now. That's what it looks like. Basically, it consists of just simple sensor nodes. What are things that you need to take into account when you're doing irrigation? You need to know the temperature of your climate. You need to know how much moisture is in your soil. You might even want to know the solar radiation or light intensity that's coming from your sun or environment. These are all things that play a very important role in the irrigation process. So with that, if there's a algorithm, if you will, I don't know if you guys know about smart cars. You guys all have smartphones. If not, more power to you. So with that, a lot of these things are very automated. What's something I could think of? Cruise control. When you have your cruise control on, this is all being controlled by a computer in your car. This is all done by an algorithm that was designed. So if I said I want to be on 60 miles an hour and I want to stay there, I have a system and computer that could potentially do that for me. So here, based on, different crops, if you will, you have almonds, you have, fruits, vegetables, things of that nature. All these things, they grow differently. They all require different amounts of water, different amounts of nurturing. So with that, if you have a system in which you could essentially set like, okay, we're dealing with almonds today. We know that they're going to need this much amount of water. We know that they grow best in this certain environment. We know that when the sun is too intense that they're going to wither and die away. If we have something that can essentially take care of that for us, because you can't be, in your field 24 hours a day. Farmers have lives too. So anything that could potentially make their process more efficient, make their process more easily connected. What if you had your whole entire irrigation process sent to your phone? That's one less thing that you have to be worried about because it's being updated in real time. Another application with this is, I don't know if you guys know of the edible garden currently going into construction here at CSUB. But that would be a great potential place to even try out the system, because I don't know what their current irrigation process, what their planning is with that, but being so that it's kind of in preliminary stages, I'm assuming that they don't really have one.
That's a safe assumption, Garrett. The students in my other class are more familiar with that project than ones in here, but yeah, there's a lot of decisions to be made about how the irrigation will be done right now.
Absolutely.
Right now, it's just 1.7 acres worth of dirt.
And who doesn't?
But it'll be something else very soon.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And that's the plan. So really, I've personally been just working on this as like a literal extracurricular project. It turned into a research project, and now it's kind of turned into a potential business proposal. So I guess what I would need is, anyone who would be interested in potentially just getting this project out, seeing it put in different locations, because I'm not a marketer. I network a lot, but at the same time, my specialty is not marketing. So I know this is a business class, so I know that you guys have, certain business skill sets that you specialize in. So in areas that I don't have these talents, I could use people who do. Right now, I know people are, we're all broke college students. Some of us might be balling, that's tight. But a lot of us, we're head over heels in loan debt. So, money is always a question, like, okay, if I'm going to be allotting my time to this, what will be my compensation? What's in it for me? And I'll be honest right now, I'm not even getting paid for this currently. I'm doing this for both experience and knowing that in all actuality, this isn't the last good idea I'm going to have in my life. So I guess, I'm not banking on that. So I guess with that, I kind of said a mouthful. But do any of you guys have any questions about anything?
So would this be strictly to farmers, or would you eventually want to go into like consumers?
Well, in all actuality, the objective would be absolutely to be able to spread it out. Farming right now is like, I guess it's more of a pertinent need. People watering lawns are, and in all actuality, they're kind of like a great waste of water. Like, you sit there and look at grass, you cut it, you double paying money. Like, I personally don't get it. But these are all things like, where can we be putting our water resources to use? And so honestly, like right for now, farming is the main objective. But in all actuality, this could, of course, branch out into, your personal home automated sprinkler. Because right now they have them. It's like you time them, you set them at 9:30 on Wednesday. It's going to water for 30 minutes. What if it rains? You just watered in the rain. Yeah. So, waste. Did that answer your question? Absolutely. Anyone else?
I'll jump in quick with just a general comment to
Please.
put things in context for you guys. A lot of the elements of an irrigation system in a large-scale farm like Wonderful or something like that, they already are linked together in various electronic ways. The point is that usually there's still a human being that has to go in and say, water now, or stop watering. At a certain point, you can always jump back in with a human being, but you don't have to have a human being making most of these decisions. The computer can sense, the heat, the humidity, the level of water in the ground. There's no reason that a human being has to make the decision. The computer could actually do this, and it saves a tremendous amount of time and energy for the farmers, which equals money, which equals the money that they would be willing to pay for this product in order to, make a better profit in their own business. So that's kind of the business side of things, is that there's a whole lot of involvement of a human being that still goes on right now that doesn't have to be done anymore. This would allow a lot of automation and generate cost savings for agricultural operations all over the world. And yes, it's also relevant for consumer markets and other things, and I think that's something we can do in this class, is to gauge the level of market there might be in the consumer sector for this, how much people will be willing to pay, stuff like that. But I think the first thing where it really does make a whole lot of sense is in large-scale watering operations in a like industrial agricultural level.
Absolutely.
Anybody have more? Yes, other question?
Speaking of costs, do you have any idea how much it costs?
As far as the whole system in general, or just okay. Well, honestly, I can honestly say not at the current moment. What I do know is right now, my biggest thing is how can I make this the most efficient for the cheapest as any business. So right now, I know that my costs are just a simple system with, like, say, a wireless node that has your soil moisture, your temperature, and your solar radiation. Just that alone, probably in total, Arduino, LCD screen, sensors, everything I need. In all honesty, that would probably cost me about $50, $60 for one node. So I guess the whole entire cost benefit analysis that would come into that will be currently what I'll be working on right now as well.
Other questions? Okay. Right now, Garrett, I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who've expressed interest before having seen the presentation. I'm going to finalize today and next Tuesday who's interested in which project.
Please.
And then as soon as I know that, we can start setting up meeting times and information that we need from you next, et cetera, et cetera. So if I can let you know by the beginning of next week who's going to be working on it.
Sounds good. And I'll also have that proposal for you. I haven't forgot.
No problem.
This is, again, being rude. Awesome. Not awesome. Okay, control, deleted it. When in doubt, task manager.
There we go.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks, Jeremy.
We'll kick
Appreciate
things
you
off
guys.
next week.
Absolutely.
Okay, so basically, I'm doing my sort of overall lectures, the one that I got started with but wasn't able to finish on Tuesday. The stuff on the syllabus today is kind of an extension of that into more detail, so we'll go through those lectures. But before I do that, right now I have 4 people signed up for 1, 2, 3, 5, right? Yeah, 5 people for the Shifty project. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different people who are interested in software development in one way or another. There's a couple different app ideas that people had, so what I'm probably going to do is divide those 13 up into 3 or 4 groups working on different apps, whichever app you're most interested in. Like I said, I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who have currently expressed interest in the Smart Irrigation project. And then I only have, the only problem with the Shifty project is that you took all my drone people, man. Like, right now, Elisa or Alyssa, are you still interested in drones?
Yeah.
Thank goodness. We need, huh?
No,
I know.
I may be interested in the drone.
Okay, I need 3, 4 people to be critical mass, and that you too, Gretchen? Okay. So.
Don't everybody jump on Shifty all at once.
Hey, you got 5 people already. Sit down. We got several people who are still undecided, so don't worry. Okay, hang on. Gretchen. Drones. What's your name?
Lillian Rivera.
Huh?
Lillian.
Lillian? What's your last name? Rivera. Okay, so that's 3. That's like the bare basement necessary. Interested? Yeah. Okay, cool. Hot, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that still leaves Mohammed Al-Yusuf. What project would you like to work? You haven't heard everything, I guess, because you weren't here on Tuesday, right? So we've got 4 we got 3 main projects and like an other category, and I'm dividing people into various projects to work on for their project in this class. So we've got one that's basically drone technology that puts solar panels on top of a small radio-controlled airplane and flies over agricultural fields and oil pipelines and stuff to monitor things remotely, so you don't have to have a person go out and do that. That's the drone project. The smart irrigation you just heard about, that's basically automated irrigation. We've got a general project category of developing software apps. Our advanced software engineering class is going to be cooperating with our class to develop software apps. So I've got about 4 or 5 different app ideas that people have submitted. We're going to divide those into different app teams. And then we've also got Shifty here, which is a not-for-profit boys group home, basically. So which of those, and we've got an other category of like everything else. And over the course of the quarter, there'll be sort of smaller projects that come in and out that I don't even know about right now that we'll be able to work on. So I like to have a few people available as the other category, so we can work on different projects there too. So which of those sounds interesting to you? Huh? Which first one? The drone technology? Okay. So, Abdullah? What? No. Alabidi. What's that? That's not you? Okay, which one are you? Abdul Rauf? Huh? Al-Quda, okay. Which project would you like to work on? Say again? The other category? Okay, got it.
No, he said he wants to wait. To hear the third one.
He wants to
wait. He wants to hear the third proposal.
Oh, the third proposal is just software development projects. They're yeah. Wait, other is projects that I don't know about yet that I'm gonna talk with people about next week, week after. They're yeah. That's fine. Okay, but Alabidi, like you're not in here right now. No. Okay. Farah Al-Barak. What project, man?
I'm gonna wait.
Okay. Rashid Awajani? Okay. And then Mohammed Amutawa? Huh? Software? Okay. Denise Alvarez. What do you think?
The software one?
Okay. David Bird. Andrew David. So Andrew, sorry.
I'll do the drones.
Okay. Noritizia? Noritizia. Okay. Antonio Cruz. Software? Okay. Is it Derica Dickerson? What do you think? Wait? Okay. Jonathan Ertl. Ertl or Ertl? Ertl, okay. Okay. Richard Gomez. Irrigation? Awesome. Nick Gonzalez.
Oh, wait.
Huh?
Oh, wait.
You'll wait? Okay. So that's the first page. Matthew McInnes. McInnes? Is it McInnes or like? Is there a menu? Is there a heel over the end? Okay. McInnes? Okay.
I guess I'll wait.
Okay. Maricela Mendoza. Maricela? Okay. Melissa Moreno. Drums? Okay. Perfect. Rebecca Obapegas. Did I get that? I don't know if I got that right or not. Anyway. Anaisa Prado? Anaisa? Prado? Okay. Martin Rusky? What do you think?
I'm gonna wait.
Okay. That will work. What's that?
You have to Tuesday to decide, or?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I like first and foremost, I had to make sure that we got enough people for the drone project, enough for the irrigation project. Software is no problem because like half the room wanted to work on software projects, and like that's a little more like we're gonna tell the CS students what apps to develop. So as long as they got enough people, it's fine. That's a little more flexible. I had to make sure that I had enough for the 2 engineering projects, and then it's fine to have another category because there's all kinds of businesses in town that I come across and talk with, and they'd like to do a project, and they just didn't happen to talk to me before the first day of class. So as long as I've got enough coverage on everything, it's fine to wait.
How far have you seen that project go? And I know this is the first time it's being a semester.
Uh-huh.
But what can you expect from a simple app? I don't know how simple, you know what I'm saying? Like to go for 1 semester, how far we can get in the project.
Really, it's kind of uncharted territory. I mean, I want, the conversation between me and the professor of the software engineering class, like theoretically, there's no reason why we can't have a working beta app by the end of the semester. So we got people testing it, we got people using it. It probably won't be like ready to download from the App Store yet, but it'll be a functioning app, at least as many elements of it as possible. And our side of things, we'll be reaching out and talking to potential users, potential partners, like investors, stuff like that. But we should have a working prototype. There's no reason why we can't have code developed enough to have a working prototype by the end of the quarter, or the end of the semester.
So what happens after that? Are some of these projects from last quarter or quarter before?
None of these projects are from last. Like I got projects in my other class that started out in this class. So my small business management class, all 3 of the projects that I'm like main project I'm having people work on in there started out in an earlier quarter. One of them was a like inventor of a particular kind of children's toilet seat that's portable. One of them is the Bakersfield for the Condors, basically just developing more business for them, and then our edible garden on campus here, and they all started out in an earlier phase. These are new projects here, so basically, if they go well, I can have a new batch of students to help with wherever the project's at in the spring, and anybody who really gets involved with the project and has time and you know signs the proper paperwork with Omar or with Garrett, there's no reason why you couldn't continue to be involved with it afterwards. It's just a question of your own interest level and availability. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay. Other questions on that general topic area? Okay. So, Blanca Sanchez. Floor? Lance Thomas.
I'm gonna go ahead and wait.
Okay. And Stephen, we already know. Let's shift you. Okay, so I'm going to pass this around for the sign-up sheet. I think I've updated most of the LinkedIn and professional development plan columns, so if you haven't sent that to me yet, please, if it's blank next to your name, it doesn't say okay, make sure to send it to me as soon as possible, okay? And with that, I will get started with my lecture. Actually, there's one other announcement that I wanted to make. I meant to say this in class on Tuesday, and I forgot. In the information section of Blackboard, I've actually posted a bunch of stuff from our Career Center, which is useful information. They're a bit more proactive and organized this year than in prior years, so they sent me, the director of the Career Center sent me a bunch of material, like calendars for when all their events are, and I've posted them in Blackboard for you guys. So So yeah, if you just go into the class in Blackboard, go to information. There's now a section here that says CC materials. So there's a schedule. They have hours, multiple days each week where you just come in and sort of get consultation on your resume, cover letters, network suggestions for contacts at certain companies and so forth. Those hours are listed here. There's a calendar of all the events and workshops and so forth that they're doing for the whole year that's here as well. There's a career expo and a volunteer day that are coming up later this fall. Both of those are main events with a lot of companies, organizations there that you can network with. And then finally, there's a resume clinic, which I believe is next Monday already, if anybody's interested. There's a LinkedIn clinic as well. I will talk a lot about LinkedIn in here too. I'm a big believer and fan of LinkedIn. But just because I covered it here doesn't mean you can't benefit further from coordinating with our Career Center. So all of that information is up here. I encourage you to take advantage of it. So that's that. Let me get into the lecture slides now. So this is where we left off last time. I sort of started this and then we like stopped the class for that day. So let me start from the beginning here again. Regardless of which direction you go in with your career, if you end up working for another company, you end up starting your own business, or you work for a small business, like the basic skill set in this class is valuable no matter which the way you go. The first thing I like to point out and remind people of is that 95% plus of all businesses in the world are small to medium-sized enterprises. They're not Microsoft. They're not Chevron. Most businesses are 10, 20, 30 people. There's many, many more of those than there are of the Chevrons in the world. So just from a pure numbers point of view for applying for a job, if you are able to package yourself as a small business professional, you have the skill set to do a little web development and a little bit of competitive research and a little bit of financial stuff, anything that needs to be done as a jack of all trades, as it were, in entrepreneurship and small business. For every one job that you can apply for at Chevron, you can apply for 20 others at small businesses. So it increases the likelihood that you'll be able to find a job if you ever lose one. It also gives you more flexibility to not be beholden to working in a big company if you decide that you don't like that culture. You have a lot more flexibility to work for a small company. Intrapreneurship, I'll get up to this a little bit more later. Anybody familiar with this term? It's basically the same as entrepreneurship. It just happens inside of a larger organization. So there's plenty of ventures, some of which I worked on before, that started out inside of Disney or start out inside of Sony or inside of Chevron, just because it has a big company benefactor doesn't mean that starting a new division, developing a new product, whatever, isn't very similar in a corporate environment as it is to a true startup. So those skills are very valuable for developing new products, starting new divisions, starting new product lines, and so forth, opening new markets in bigger companies. And then finally, there's about 1 million new startups every year just in the United States. Unfortunately, most of them don't make it. I hope by teaching this class and other people like me who teach this class, we improve the percentage of how many of those succeed versus fail in the future. But there's always new startups going on out there. Some of them are going to be projects that come out of this class. Some of them are going to be ideas that you guys haven't even started working on yet, but the skill set from this class will give you the ability to turn ideas into businesses in reality a little bit better. So regardless of which direction you go, I think the skill sets in this class are very, very good to have as a professional. Like I started saying a little bit last time, 18 months plus new capital equals adventure. When you're truly starting up a completely new company, if you have money, like I said last time, to last 18 months worth of your like monthly expenses, and you really throw yourself into doing this for 18 months, something will happen. Whether it's a business that's going to scale up to $100 million a year, or it ends up being a small hobby firm, basically, if you can be able to invest that time and have the capital available for it, whether it comes from family or friends or your own savings or whatever, you will generate a new company. I've seen it work time and time again. And if you only have 6 months worth of burn rate, maybe not, but it's much less likely if you don't have enough time to really make the right decisions and develop the business the right way. So the other 2 points in here, I talked a little bit last time, just giving you guys some background on me. So I talk about immediate practical implementation, modular business planning, and networking. So in my own past, there's 5 different small businesses or startups that I worked with where really my skill set, my like contribution to those businesses was to roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty sooner rather than later. I've always been very focused on, like I said a little bit in the last class, ready, fire, aim instead of ready, aim, fire. Like getting things out there, getting them done, throwing stuff up against the wall and seeing what sticks is not everything that's important in entrepreneurship, but it's a really crucial one that a lot of people don't do, and they wait too long and just think rather than act. So Cost Recovery Systems was a value-added reseller of accounting hardware and software. That's a company my dad started, and that was actually the first job that I had after undergrad, was being the salesman for that company. Doc 11 was a music internet company in Hamburg, Germany, in Internet 1.0. In retrospect, we were kind of like a combination between Amazon and YouTube. We had all kinds of like fun videos and extra content for free, but we also had a whole online store. Cool company. The bandwidth wasn't there like a lot of internet companies at that time. So that's not around anymore. But we went and implemented a hell of a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. I think we burned through $4 million of investors' capital in 6 months. And then the bubble burst, and the venture capital firm didn't re-up with an additional investment, and we all went our separate ways. Avenue 2 Licensing and Consulting is the first company I founded myself. It was a music licensing and event booking company. I started that in Germany. I knew, by the time I had been working in the music business in Germany for a while, I got to know most of the owners of independent record labels in Germany. So I also, during the course of that time, met my now ex-wife, who is Brazilian, and she happened to be at a trade fair in Frankfurt at the same time I was there, and we met, and I then left Sony and started my licensing company, signed contracts with all of the independent labels in Germany, and moved to Brazil to represent them in Brazil. So I brokered concerts and licensing contracts back and forth between record labels and artists in Europe and distributors and concert venues in Brazil. That was that business. It was fun. Didn't make a whole lot of profit, but it sure was a fun company to run on a micro scale. Chipolati Christmas Decor, that's actually my ex-wife's company, still to this day. They're the largest like Christmas decoration company in Latin America. They decorate shopping malls for Christmas. The 30-foot high Santa Claus and all that kind of stuff for about 160 shopping malls from Buenos Aires up through Monterrey, Mexico. Most of it is in Brazil. So I helped them a little bit with business development and opening doors here in the States. It's about a $15 million a year family company. It's cool. Like, it's actually about 400 fixed staff and 2,000 at the holidays that they hire temp to put up and take down the decorations. Usually, in the United States, 400 people is way bigger than a $15 million a year company, but because of the nature of salaries and minimum wage in Brazil, they have a lot more fixed staff than one might think. And then Market Driver Consulting was the second company I started. It was basically third-party hired gun sales. So one thing I've always been really comfortable doing in my career is selling, networking, picking up the phone, making good old-fashioned cold calls, and opening new doors and relationships. So a lot of people would rather go through treatment for malaria than have to pick up the phone and call a stranger. So I basically outsourced that and had several people that I paid to pick up the phone and dial all day, and we would collect a fixed cost from the customer, and we deliver a certain amount of leads. So they'd pay us $1,000. We'd give them a list of 10 people with their names and phone numbers. Said, we've already introduced you. They're interested in your product. You can call them at this time. So that was that business, and that's kind of my background and experience on rolling up my sleeves and making actual companies work. In terms of sort of the business planning side and the experience to actually like know how to do the various elements that I'm teaching you guys in this class. I was an undergrad at Stanford. I did my MBA at UCLA, and then I have a PhD from University of Cincinnati in business administration. I also spent a couple years as a management consultant for PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was a product manager basically for the Bertelsmann Book and Music Club and the Sony Music Entertainment after that, both in Germany, and then did some work as basically a headhunter. I would in Los Angeles, I would talk to various companies, identify what work they needed done that wasn't getting done at this point, and then I'd staff them with finance and accounting professionals. I'd pay. These are mid-career, either people that like got laid off. They're sort of mid-career, 10, 20 years of experience, and were available to do hourly work, or they're people that had retired but still were interested in working and so forth. So it's former controllers, CFOs, financial analysts, stuff like that. We'd usually pay them $30, $40 an hour and bill them at 60 or 80. And all of that sort of informs my experience in doing market sizings and doing development and analysis of financial statements, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the background I bring to what I'm teaching you guys in this class. And then finally, if you put together implementation plus business planning minus differentiation, so neither of my companies that I started, Avenue 2 and Market Driver, neither of them were really sufficiently differentiated to be able to be long-term competitive. So, yeah, I still have those companies. They're pretty much like inactive. Every once in a while, I'll like have somebody call or email me about a project they're interested in, but not much. But what did happen is that all the people, all the customers, all the contacts, all the suppliers that I met doing all that stuff, like they didn't go away just because the business isn't really active anymore. What all that did was give me a huge contact network that I plan on leveraging for this class. So whatever contacts we need for the various projects to reach out and talk with people, I've got about 10,000 in my personal contact folder. Then the Stanford and UCLA alumni networks, as well as the University of Cincinnati, are amazing as well in terms of finding people who are experts in whatever field we need. So I bring that to the table for you guys and your benefit in this class. My philosophy towards entrepreneurship in general is, like I said, to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. And there's really, to me, we'll go through lots of different modular business plan elements and so forth, and we'll talk about sort of your nurturing your entrepreneurial perspective and other things next week. But the core activity, in my opinion, is focused on three things. It's having a website and online materials, doing customer outreach, and having expert advisors. If you put those three things together, if you put together competent materials that represent visually and textually whatever the business opportunity is, you talk with as many potential customers as possible as soon as possible and get feedback from them, and you talk to as many people who have been there and done that already as you can, as soon as you can. You put those three things together, something good will happen. It's hard to say what. Sometimes you put them together and find out that the business you thought you were going to go into is not a good idea, but another door opens somewhere else. But You only identify what will work and what doesn't work if you get the ideas. Moving on, getting the ideas out of your head and onto a website, and it's not the nature of the website, how it's laid out and everything is less important than just getting information out there so that people can see it. So one of the first things I want to do for all three of these, all of the projects we're going to be working on, we're going to push Garrett, we're going to push Omar, we're going to push some of the software development people to 2-3 weeks from now already. If Omar's got a plane that'll fly, but it doesn't have the exact solar panels in the right shape yet, I want us to go out and take a video of what he does have and watch it fly. We'll throw it up on a website, and we'll put a little graphic together. This is the current phase. Phase 2 is going to add these things here. Phase 3 is going to add these things here, so people can see very easily where the project is at and what the value is. Same thing for the smart irrigation. As much as possible, I want 10 pictures just like the one that Garrett showed us today, and we'll be describing exactly how each of the components works and explaining this. And then once we have those materials, we'll go out and start talking to agricultural companies and say, hey, look, this is exactly what this plane does. What would you pay for it? Would you? What's the problem? What is missing? What else would you like to see in terms of capabilities? How do we need to describe this so that it resonates with you? As soon as you've got the materials in a website format, you can just so easily send people to the link. You don't have to be attaching documents back and forth. It makes it very easy to get input from customers quickly. Same thing with expert advisors. So one of the other things I want to do is put Garrett's ideas, put the description in front of other technology vendors to the agriculture business, or in software case, all kinds of people that I know who are in the software app development space, and have them look at it and say, hey, you know what? I developed a similar app like this 2 years ago, and right here is where the problem was. And we'll pass that information on to the software engineering students. The more you talk with somebody who's been there and done that, the more you talk with potential customers and present to them as clear and compelling of a visual and textual presentation of things as possible, the more quickly you're going to get feedback, and the more quickly you're going to be able to build something that there's actually demand for in the marketplace. We'll go through this more later. It's pretty easy. There's a pretty wide range of comfort level and skill sets for students in my classes. Some people are more comfortable than others with web development and graphic design. The nice thing about the state of software and tools for this in 2016 is that you don't have to be a graphic designer, you don't have to be a web developer to be able to put together a professional looking website and professional looking graphics. You can basically do it. You can basically do it for free, and you can certainly do it even more robustly with really high quality tools for about $20 a month in software rental costs. It's really, really good tools. We'll talk about those more later, but it's a major part of the way I approach entrepreneurship is whatever your idea is, build me a website. Next week, I want to be able to see. I don't want you to have to tell me what the idea is. I want to be able to read about it. I want to be able to click on links, and if I want to read what the financials are, I can open up the financials and I can read them. If I want to understand how the product works, I can read the illustration sooner rather than later. So customer outreach, like I said, I think it's really important to talk to customers first rather than second. If we go out and we talk to a bunch of agriculture firms and they all say, you know what, we've got contracts with airplane companies that rent us space and time off their planes, and honestly, it costs us $200 a month to map the field. So unless you can offer me something that's cheaper than $200 a month, I don't care about your drones. If somebody tells us that can save us and Omar and everyone else a whole lot of time and heartache if we know ahead of time from potential buyers that this is the price point they're willing to pay. these are the existing competitors that they use. The sooner you talk to customers, the sooner you find that out. If you don't, you can spend a whole lot of time going in the wrong direction and waste your time and energy. Beta customers, alpha and beta customers actually. We'll talk about this in coming weeks too, but what you really want from people is to be able to get an initial reaction to the product or service. They need to be available. I mean, there's lots of people out there who might have good input to give you. If they're too busy to be able to take the time to look at it, they don't do you any good. So part of the sort of art of outreach with customers, beta customers, is finding ones who are your friends or contacts or for whatever reason have enough time and energy to be interested in helping you. And really, you just want to do a brain dump from them. And as you start to get feedback from people, you get referrals from them for more people. And honestly, that becomes your initial customer base. It starts out being people that give you advice on how to design the product, but they become your real paying customers, and you build off that for later. Basically, as you find a particular type of customer that seems to have some potential to it, that's the point at which we start thinking about, okay, if this is a 300-person agricultural firm, let's go out and find out how many other 300-person agricultural firms there are just like that. Let's think about how are we going to do sales and outreach to them, and you start developing a marketing plan. You start developing a basic set of promo materials for that segment. Once you've identified, oh, this seems like this seems like a segment that we hear several people talking about, and now that we've gotten input from them, we can sort of start targeting other strangers that look just like that are going to be the next phase of the customer development. We'll talk about this a little bit more in future classes too, but I'm a big fan of putting together customer vignettes. So whether it's for the software apps, it's going to be a combination of consumers and businesses. For the drone application and the irrigation system, it's going to be talking with a lot of businesses and just simply recording from them what is it that they want in terms of irrigation. I want to be able to spend no more than this amount of money on water. These are places where I'm wasting water, so if anybody could help me to save water here, that would be valuable to me. I want to know exactly how much they would pay for it. In the software app, we're going to ask people, if this app is useful to you, would you pay $10 a month for it? Is it the kind of thing that you download one time for $5? If it came with a upgraded service, would you consider subscribing to it? We want to know. I don't care what the answer is. I just want to hear yes or no. And if no, then what would you pay for? Would you be okay with advertisements in the app, and then it's for free, but you see advertisements? What is it that you would be willing to buy? And we need to record the demographics of those customers. So if it's a business, we want to know the industry it's in. Yes?
Isn't that usually determined with a market test when you launch the product? The price point that you can put out?
Sort of. But what do you mean by a market test?
Where they test it at a high price, it's at a low price, test it at a medium price, and determine sales.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that comes a little bit later in the process. I mean, to me, for almost anything, first thing you do is just ask the people that are giving you input on developing it, how much would you pay? More than 100? Less than 1,000? And the more information you get, then eventually, if you know from 4 or 5 conversations with beta customers that anything between 100 and 500 is in the ballpark of what they'd be willing to pay, then when you do a market test, you actually you put it in front of 500 different customers, and you split them up into 3 groups. One group gets offered a product for 100, one gets 250, one gets 500, and see which one performs better. But before you ever do that on a larger scale, I like to record all this stuff from individual people, individual companies. Does it make sense? So if it's a company, we need to know number of employees, revenues, what industry they're in, where they're located physically, how many different locations they have. If it's an individual, we want to know how old they are, whether they're married or single, where they live, what their job is, what their income level is, because that information we can then take and count how many other people there are just like this in the potential target market. This is an example of a vignette that has me in it. I was the focus for my entrepreneurship class back in Cincinnati maybe 4 years ago. There was one of my students that wanted to develop a new golf course, basically a kind of a themed golf course with a lot of focus on the restaurant, the bar, kind of being a social destination, not just a place to play golf. So this is how he recorded the information on me. I think it's a good example of what I want you guys to do. Expert advisors. How many people know the name Iron Maiden and Judas Priest? Okay, so back when I was doing Doc 11, the music internet company, none of us really knew what the hell we're doing. I mean, I'm a music fan, but I hadn't spent the last 10 years building. Now I have contacts in the music business. When I first got into it, I and the other entrepreneurs who were starting the venture don't have like contacts in the music business. We just had a good idea. So one of the things that we did that worked out really well is we found one expert, at least one person with lots of contacts who knew the entire segment in each different genre of the music business. So I like to play this briefly to see if people recognize the face. Like this was our partner for our metal world in the music.com, and it's an interview that she put together for our site.
Hallo Bulle TV Leute, ich freue mich ganz besonders. Wir sitzen hier in Hannover im Booster einer Rockkneipe und neben mir Rob Halford. Wir haben lange drauf gewartet. Rob Halford ist back. Aber ich rede jetzt gar nicht weiter, sondern ich denke mal, Rob Halford soll all die Sachen uns erzählen, die er zum neuen Album zu erzählen hat. Rob, thank you very much that you are here, that you are joining us by Bullet TV.
Thank you for the invitation. Hello everybody on Bullet TV.
You are doing now a horror trip of promotional tour.
Does anybody recognize the name Rob Halford? Or know that face? Rob's the lead singer of Judas Priest. And there's no way in hell I could have picked up the phone and called and gotten an interview for 15 minutes long on the tour bus with Rob Halford. The only way we were able to do that is because we reached out to people who had these contacts and brought them in as part of the venture sooner rather than later. So the sooner you can get experts involved in whatever it is. So for the drone and the irrigation venture, we're going to reach out sooner rather than later and get people who are in the agriculture business who are interested in seeing us succeed involved in making introductions, in giving advice and stuff, telling us, well, based on my past experience, based on my past experience, the contract with the utility is going to be crucial for any large scale smart irrigation thing. We need to learn what people who have been involved with this already have experienced. So if I go back to the slideshow again, it's just a kind of an example of the different kinds of advisors we've had lately. Those I actually am going to leave for another session, and I'm going to go quickly to the critical foci part of the presentation here. Yeah, actually, that's the stuff I already went over. So, cool. I'm actually done early rather than later. So, the basic point that I wanted to give as an overview before I start going into the details of each each different part of the business plan next week. The sooner you put together web materials, the sooner you start talking to potential customers out there, and the sooner you start talking with experts, the faster the venture goes from an idea to something real. So in the case of Shifty, the sooner you had, like, your brochure is a good start. I want to see it as a website. I want to see it with lots of descriptions of the different services that could be offered, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
I made it yesterday.
Well, I'm not going to go now, but whatever you've done, I'm going to go look through it. I'm going to tell you guys, if I were thinking about, giving grant money to this, here's the things I want to see that aren't on the website right now. Can you please add those? And
that's going to be on the big list. Like
yeah,
I said, I made it yesterday.
I know.
Don't know what I'm doing.
I know. That's why I'm having you do the draft sooner rather than later, so I can give you some input on what I think should be put there. There's a couple different people I know who have been not-for-profit managers for their whole careers. I want them to look at it immediately and say, hey, you know what? The last time I was involved with a group home, here are the regulatory issues that really came close to killing us. And so they can describe that, and then start talking to. Your customer base can be a little complex because, well, it is, but you're providing services to people who can't pay for them. So the actual paying customer is going to be the government, various grant-making agencies. It's a little bit more complex, but you want to talk to the government. You want to talk to the grant agencies and say, hey, what do we have to do to get paid? What metrics do you want to see? What reports do we need to give?
I'm actually going to the Department of Human Services tomorrow to talk about that. So.
Good idea. So does that make sense to everybody? It's a pretty simple, web materials, reach out to customers, reach out to experts thing. Everything else that I'm going to go over in the coming weeks are details that support that, but the basic activity of putting together materials, getting in front of people, and getting their input is, in my opinion, the fastest way to go from idea to real venture. So that's it for today. Where's my sign-up sheet?
I never signed it. Yeah, a lot of us don't even sign it.
Did I pass? I passed it around though, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, make sure you sign the sign-up sheet before you leave. Oh, really? That's okay, the ones that we don't know yet? I don't know, but I can give you sort of a short list next week of some of the things that I think I don't know off the top of my head, but I can give you some potential ideas next week. For LinkedIn, I just want you to go.
I already signed up.
Go to the I sent you a link that says www.linkedin.com/in/Jeremy Woods.
Okay, yeah.
Just click on that. That'll take you to my profile.
I already followed.
Yeah, and it just says connect. Just push the button that says connect, and then I'll answer that and accept you as a contact. Okay.
About the project next week.
Yeah. As far as the other projects, waiting on stuff, I have a long list on my laptop of companies that I've talked to in the past that might want to do some work in the future. I needed to make sure that the first 3 projects are covered, and then I'll give you some ideas. I'll make some calls around.
To explain the misunderstanding that happened, and we got nervous sometimes when we talk in public.
That's fine.
Yeah,
No problem. Who's next?
I was going to ask about.
Anybody else need to sign up? I'm sorry, guys.
There's not an OK next week, but I only do on LinkedIn, so maybe I just take some time.
When did you add me?
The day before the class. First day of class before that.
I'm not perfect at updating the list, so I may have just forgotten.
Well, it says homework. It doesn't say okay. Was that part of homework?
Huh?
I have a thing that says homework, but I know you said you were going to put an okay.
Yeah, no. Where does it say homework?
It says HW next to my name.
It does?
You're pregnant. That's definitely what's happening.
Okay, that's fine.
So I don't know if that.
Long story short, if it doesn't show up next week, just ask me again.
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
cool.
I what I started doing but haven't finished yet. After, like, whenever somebody sends me an invite, I just go in and I put OK next to their name, but sometimes I forget.
I don't even know how that website works.
Huh?
I don't know the difference from OK or a like. Or
No, it's there's no difference. You just had to, like, I just forgot to put OK next to your name because I have to go in and like type it into the spreadsheet. So once I'm done, I'm going to go through the spreadsheet and just every name that doesn't have an OK, I'll search on that name and like, oh shit, I am connected to you. I forgot. So I'll go back and do that later this weekend.
And then lastly, so if we have an idea for a project, I'll email you. If it's not software, but it has to do with software, like let's say you want to design something, like maybe a prototype of something, would you be able to? Would we be able to add that if it's a good idea?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it's really cool that we can do a cooperation with our computer science and our engineering departments. So first and foremost, I had to make sure that we had enough students for those projects because we're going to do that every semester going forward, and we're going to develop some really cool stuff out of it. After that, I'm very flexible on what other ventures we do. So if you got an idea, talk to me about it. The only thing I want to avoid is having like 20 different people working on 20 different projects. Like whatever the other projects are, I want to like have 2, 3, 4 people working on each project.
All right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll email you the idea to have tonight.
Yeah, just email them to me. We'll put it together a big list of like other projects, and we'll have a conversation with everybody that's waiting next week, and like people can pick which one they want to work on.
All right.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Who's next? Yes.
Here's my name. Okay, you got it?
Akuda, right? Yep. We're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't have the class on the blackboard.
Okay. What's your name?
Fahad.
Yeah, I added you. I added you earlier today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When's the
I
last
didn't-
time
I
you?
didn't,
When's the last time you
yesterday.
looked in? Yeah. Check now. It should be on Blackboard. I just added you this morning.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. Sure. Okay. And did you sign up here?
I just added it.
Yeah. Can you write your email address there too, so I can start including you in all the communication? Same thing for you. Okay.
And thank you for the email.
Oh, no problem. You got it, right?
Yeah, I
okay.
guess, yeah. And you know, the syllabus and interesting to be here.
Perfect. Are you on my list here already or not for this class? Once he's done, make sure to put your name and email address too. You know what? I tried to email you.
Yeah.
What is it? FF?
You.
Huh?
Here. You just FFMM and you put AU.
Did I?
Yeah. And my friend, he says he got your email wrong.
Oh, okay.
And he sent it to me.
So it's FFMMAA 111, right? Okay. I'll try it again. Sorry. What's up?
It's okay. So I had a similar question as the guy earlier about a project. I actually began my business a while back, but I keep pausing. So I just wanted to see if I can do that in the class. And I think it's more of a girlier thing. I don't know, like I feel like maybe more girls would be interested in it. It's just like an online store, just wholesale and then getting it, reselling it. I recruit models who like in Bakersfield and try to get them connects in Los Angeles and working on I have a website, but I want to redo it. I paid someone to do it, but I want to learn how to do it myself. Yeah. Just marketing too and social.
Can you email me with like a little like paragraph summary of what you just told me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you said other right now. You said you were gonna wait.
Yeah,
okay.
other.
Okay, cool.
So I'll do that.
Yeah, email me, and then like I said to the other folks, we'll like everybody who's in the other category. I'll kind of present all the ideas to people, and we'll get a couple people on your project and a couple people on the other project, and like that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
No problem.
I had an idea for an app, but I don't know if it's doable.
Cool. What is it?
To make it so you can take a picture of yourself and then try clothes on like virtually.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
So you can get the dimensions and see. If
Same thing though. Can you email it to me?
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing is for small business.
Yep.
My brother runs a construction company, but from San Diego.
Yep.
And